it's Rob here and welcome to this hopefully one and only video of the build sequence of my new Tamiya Super Clod Buster. I didn't think I was going to be videoing this early in the build because I saw this and thought, well, it's just a servo saver, so you know, won't really need to just show you all of that. However, I have started videoing because I wanted to show you these massive ball connectors you can see there, which screw into the side here of the chassis, two on each side, but it's also got a steel plate to add a bit of strength. So that goes down there, if you can see that, just about. Whoops. And then on the top we've got some of these brass ball joints which are bigger than normal, and you require the 7mm either nut spinner or the biggest on your Tamiya tool, which is normally only used for the wheel nuts. And as you can see, it screws on like so, and again there's another steel reinforcing plate that goes underneath. So that's all of that, so I'll crack on, and once you've done that, put all them on, you've got this plate to cover the bottom a bit, so we'll see how we go on and get back to you once I've done a bit more. Well, it seems it's not my day today. I spent part of yesterday looking for my thread lock and also part of this morning, and I've no idea what I've done with it. So even though the manual doesn't tell you to use thread lock, Tamiya in their infinite wisdom have supplied just these ordinary nuts, which honestly I think in this would vibrate loose, and I think if you try and tighten it enough that they wouldn't work loose, you might end up cracking the plastic. So as I can't find my thread lock, I've decided to use my stock of nylock nuts instead. This is for that cover. So we've got 4, and where the nut goes, it's a captive housing, so you don't need a nut spinner or anything, and it just sits in like so, and then you screw the screw in. So yeah, I'll get back to you. Right, we've moved on a few steps, and I just thought I'd show you this because steps 5 and 6, it tells you to put some of the decal stickers on there and there, and on the back and on the other side, as well as installing the body mounts. And then step 7 is to fit the steering servo, and if we look down here you can see this metal plate here has got this slot cut in it with 2 holes and 1 at the back, and that corresponds to those 3 points, so it goes in like so. And I would definitely take a look at the orientation of these rods. So the top ones go to the forward and the bottom one goes to the back, and then it's just a case of lining it all up with your 3 self-tapping 12mm screws. So once again I'll crack on and do some more. Okay, so I've moved on a little bit and I've just completed steps 9 and 10. However, there's a note up here that says repeat steps 9 to 26 to make 2, and this is going to be the axles. So here, as you can see, is the short axle tube attached to the gearbox housing, and this is the long axle tube, exactly the same, but you get these 2 axles and one slips inside the other like so. So I've got to go through and make all of them up. The one thing I will say is to attach this arm to the gearbox housing, I've used this, which is AW grease or anti-wear grease, which I've still got quite a bit of from other kits that I've bought. Some kits from Tamiya you get this included, some you don't. If you haven't got any of that, you could use ordinary grease, or if like me you're quite spare on Tamiya's ceramic grease, you could pop a bit of that round, and it just helps to stop the dust from getting in when you're running on dusty surfaces like dried mud and stuff and sand, etc. So yeah, nothing surprising about these other than there's hardly any play. There's a bit in that one, but there wasn't any at all in the short one, so that's not too bad. We need 2 ball bearings per side, 2 washers per side, and 2 of these great big E-clips. So I think I'm a washer short there, but hey, I'll sort all of that out. So back to you in a bit. Okay folks, so we've moved on a bit. We've got 1 axle finished, or well, I say finished, up to step 16 it's finished, which is adding the motor. What I wanted to show you was this little tool. Now I don't know what else it's going to be used for, but if you can see there, this cutout here, that is to measure the height of, did this fine on the other one, the pinion gear. So like that, and I've locked it off, and as you can see, that's for getting the pinion gear in the correct position. So I'll tighten this up and do a bit more, because I'm sure you've all installed a motor. Another strange thing is we've got these long spacers that go through like so for mounting the motors. So yeah, I'll crack on and do a bit more and get back to you. Right folks, another little snippet. I'm on step 17, just about to install these Dubry Firkins. I've already done the one, but you've got to put 3 nuts in here, held in place by the plastic itself, So to help me along, just to hold them in place, I've got my brush that I've been using with my anti-wear grease. There's no real, lots of grease on it, but it's just the remnants, so I'm swizzle them around and then pop the nut in and just make sure it's down, and then it won't come out, so that when you're faffing about trying to get this other bit over like so, you're not worried about the nut coming out, and then you can get your finger behind there to hold it in place while you start screwing. So I'll carry on. The other thing is, that I've just forgotten, is it tells you to grease this, what turns out to be a ball joint, and then the outside of this one and the inside of this one. But as it's exposed, I decided I'm going to use this Specialist Dry PTFE tape. But what I've done is I've sprayed a load into this cup, and then I'm using another paintbrush. So see you in a bit. Well, here's one axle finished, ready to be installed onto the chassis in step 27. So I've just got the other axle to finish off before we carry on to that, but I thought I'd show you what it's looking like at the minute, and to tell you what a bleeding nightmare these short braces. They're I don't know, iron, steel maybe. They're definitely not aluminium. But yeah, I've had such a bother trying to get it. There's a screw that goes through this upright here and screws into this brace, and I've had a nightmare trying to get this one in. This side, easy peasy on both axles, but this short one, it's been a nightmare on both axles. So with that, we'll crack on, get the other one done, and I might show you some stuff concerning this, installing them into the chassis. Well, we've nearly finished the chassis now. We've got both axles installed onto it. I've just put one set of shock absorbers on for the minute. A few things, kind of weird battery holder, so it just clips in, so that might be interesting if you go over any big jumps. These ball joint connections, fairly simple in the end. Screw holes lined up really nicely and all tightened up. If we come to the bottom, this tool here, which we used for the pinion gear depth, the manual also tells you to use it to help you connect these ball joints up with these weird blue, I don't know what you'd call them really, 4-link suspension mounts. So that's all in and done. One thing I've forgot to tell you about, or show you about the axles, is the servo saver. That is the servo saver in there. Let me just turn back a few pages. So we've got a top steering bar and a lower steering bar which go through a rather large hole, and then we've got a spring, a spacer sleeve and a nylock nut, and that all makes up the servo saver. And you basically have to tighten the nylock nut down until there's 3.5 mil of thread showing. So we'll see how that works. That's that. So we've just got a few things to do. Got to make up the other 4 shocks. These things that I'm not looking forward to be perfectly honest, are putting these tyres onto these wheels. I mean, how big are them? So yes, and I would imagine that there is going to be a specific orientation, so we shall have to see about that in a few minutes. I'll do one to see how hard it is, and maybe even video me struggling to do the other ones if they are that hard. So we'll be back shortly. Okay my friends, I've been having a right faff with these tyres and wheels, so I've decided to try and show you, because I can't find a video on YouTube about people how they actually fit these tyres, so I thought I'd do it myself. Now you may cringe and you may think it's all, I'm doing this all wrong, but this is my way. This bit is quite easy, he says, relatively speaking. Getting the first bead, or the front of the wheel, through the bead. Keep forgetting about that. Come on. You can do it. Here we go. Yay. Ooh. And I've managed to get it through. There you go. So that wasn't too hard. I haven't noticed any of my other tyres going like that. Oh well. Right. So this next bit is also fairly easy-ish, comparatively speaking, in that you just need a bit of brute force and ignorance, and you can generally get it over. He says, there we go, it's almost there. Right, that's the hard bit done. We've just got to try and sink the bead now, and I'll probably speed some of this up. There, oh no, there we go. Now this is the hard bit. I tried and tried and tried, and I couldn't get the bead over, so I'm not even going to attempt that now, because I've got my way of doing it, and it's to use these two. So we initially stick the thing in, and then I try and ease it up, and then I get the other side and ease it over, and hopefully we can get it on. Almost. Come on. Right. There we go. Right. Once you've got the first bit over, it's not too difficult to get the rest of it. However, it is still, or I do still require my screwdriver. And I just keep working it round until the bead goes on. Woohoo! And then you might need to do some pulling out just to make sure the bead seats properly. And there you have your wheel. That's looking right manky. Oh well, typical. So we can carry on and sort, hopefully, gluing them. I normally use some flexible glue. This here, fantastic plastic. But that means pulling the bead back and laying it, and I'm not doing that, so I'm going to try these glue holes here. I've got some various syringes and stuff and things. So we'll see how we go. We've got this little tiny thin thing, I don't know if that will go in. Yeah, so I'll get and glue them in place and see how we go from there. And here we have the finished chassis. Put some strengthening on, way over the top I would imagine, but hey, and you might be able to see, but we've got some, I think that's 2mm stainless steel plate to strengthen the plastic up and all of that and everything. And now the lovely chrome wheels, I've glued the tyres on so that hopefully they won't spin if they do normally or have done on others. And other than that, it's basically stock, apart from the obligatory ball bearings, which were supplied by Uncle Bob's. And that, I think, is about it for the chassis build. I hope you've enjoyed it, and hopefully you'll join me for the bodywork. So, thanks for watching. Bye.